Welcome to the online syllabus and success video for Math 111 College Algebra at Portland Community College. My name is Forrest Carter. I'll be your instructor this term. Both Jessica Bernards and I have worked together in developing this video, which should serve to offer you lots of strategies and tips to find success in this class.
First, we're going to start with the myths of an online class. One of the myths is that online classes are easier than face-to-face classes. In reality, it's the same material that's learned in both face-to-face and online classes, but in an online class, there's more emphasis on the student to be disciplined and organized, and to actually set that time aside to learn the material. Another myth is that online instructors are online 24/7. In reality, I actually am a person and I have a family and a life. So what I can guarantee you is that I will always every week conduct an online office hour. And then also I have 4 other office hours throughout the week where I'm on campus. And if you do send me an email with questions, which I really love getting, if you send it Monday through Friday, expect a reply to emails within 24 hours. Usually I check it multiple times throughout the day, so you'll get it within a few hours. If it's over the weekend, expect a reply on Monday, but I do occasionally check email on the weekend, so you'll probably get an email back on the weekend. I just cannot guarantee that. Another myth is that all of the work for the week can be done over the weekend. So remember that this is a 5-credit online college level course, and that translates to about 15 hours per week. This is what accreditation standards for our college state. So you really are going to have a tough time trying to get in 15 hours of work just on the weekend for the week. And if you try to cram that all in, your brain is going to have a super hard time processing it all. So my best advice is to just spread out your time throughout the week. Try to do an hour or 2 every day and set aside those times now so that you don't, fall victim to being like, oh, this is an online class, I'll do it later. And then you continually say, I'll do it later. And now it's Sunday and you've got a whole section to get through. And then the last myth is that in an online class, you have to teach yourself the material. In reality, there are so many resources and videos that I've created for you to help you learn the material and to help emulate a face-to-face class. So remember, please, that you're not alone. Like, I am here to help, and that's my job, and I love helping. So please make sure you're reaching out if you're getting stuck, you're hitting me up during office hours, you're sending me emails, and you're using all of the resources and videos that I've created for you.
Let's talk about what most of you are probably most interested in, your course grade breakdown and how your grade will be evaluated in this course. There are 6 overall components to your grade in this course. The first is My Math Lab homework, an online homework management system. My Math Lab, associated with our textbook, will have weekly assignments covering various sections of the text. That will be worth 15%. Twice throughout the quarter, you're going to do homework write-ups. Basically, a document you'll download, do some handwritten homework, and then upload a PDF. That's going to be worth 10% of your course grade. The college has a requirement that online courses have a discussion component, and a couple of times throughout the quarter, you'll be prompted to have an online discussion. That will be worth 5% of your course grade. On the same My Math Lab system that you'll do your homework in, we'll be doing weekly quizzes. There are 2 types of quizzes, but those scores will be combined and contribute towards 10% of your overall course grade. We'll have 2 exams this term, a midterm and a final. Each are worth 30% of your course grade. The course grade breakdown follows traditional scales, 90% for A, 80% for B, and so on. However, it is important to note that in order to earn at least a C in the course, you must also score an average of 68% on the 2 proctored exams. I will take your exam grades, add them together, and divide by 2. That number must be 68% in order for you to earn a C. Basically, you have to get at least a high D on the 2 exams in order to pass the class with a C.
So let's talk about these proctored exams. So there's 2 of them. The dates and locations for each of them can be found in the course calendar and syllabus PDF file. They are paper and pencil exams that have two parts. So there'll be a non-calculator section and then a calculator section. Notes are not allowed on either of these. As for a calculator requirement for this class, all you need is a scientific calculator for the exams. Anything that involves, and so as you're doing the homework, my best advice is do all of the problems without a calculator unless it specifically states to use technology to do the problem or it's a word problem, because it's only those types of questions that will be on the calculator part.
If you live more than 60 miles from any of the Portland Community College campuses, you're going to be responsible for making arrangements to have your exam proctored at a local community college. You absolutely must contact me by the end of the first week in order to make those arrangements. I'll give you some paperwork and you'll get that filled out and back to me by the end of the second week.
Quizzes. So quizzes are done in my math lab and they're due every Tuesday night at 11 p.m. And there's two types of quizzes. Each of them are timed. So I do have a setup timer on there, and that's just because I want to make sure that you guys are emulating kind of an exam environment where as you're taking a quiz, you don't have the time to go through and go back in your notes or rewatch a video as you're taking a quiz. The quizzes are kind of a checkpoint for you to figure out if you've learned the material well enough to do well on exams. But with that, I set up the time so you get basically double the amount of time it takes the average student to complete an exam, or a quiz. So for example, the quiz should take 15 minutes to take. I actually set the timer to give you 30 minutes, so that time is never a factor. So as I said, there's two types of quizzes. There's what's called high score quiz, and that is a type of quiz that can be taken as many times as you want to before that Tuesday night 11 p.m. deadline. I recommend that you master the high score quiz at least 2 times before you move on to the second type of quiz, which is called a one chance quiz. So what'll happen is you can take the high score quiz an unlimited amount of times. The grade that will get recorded in the grade book is whatever the highest score is that you've gotten on that. And I kind of set this up so it could be like a practice quiz for you, so you could try it out, see how you're doing, if you're really ready to take the one chance quiz, or if you need to go back and relearn any material. And then once you feel confident in the material, you go and you take the one chance quiz, and those are taken only once. Okay, so now let's talk about my math lab homework. So in my math lab, when you get in there, you're going to see there's two different types of assignments. There's what's called a learning assignment and a practice assignment. And you can kind of see I did a little icon here of what they look like, but the learning assignments for each section is going to be labeled obviously learning assignment, and then right underneath you're going to see the practice assignment. So we're going to talk about the difference between a learning assignment and a practice assignment. So a learning assignment is basically lecture videos and low-level check problems. So what I did is I wanted to set this up so that it kind of was like you taking, sitting in a course lecture, a face-to-face class. So I created video lectures over each objective. You'll go through, you'll watch the lecture videos, you'll take notes. I have a video worksheet that you'll take notes on as you're watching the lecture videos, and then you'll just have these little checkpoints throughout to make sure that you're understanding the material. So again, as I just said, take notes on the video worksheets that are in Desire to Learn. It's really important that you take notes because that's what helps your brain process the information, and it's also a really great guide to go back and look at as you're kind of studying for exams and getting ready for quizzes and whatnot. The only extra credit I give is on these video worksheets. So if you have the video worksheets completed in full and you bring them to the midterm and you bring them to the final, I will give you extra credit points. So now let's talk about the practice assignments. So those practice assignments you want to complete after you've done the learning assignment. This is where you'll actually make sure that you've learned the material well enough. In these assignments, you're given 3 tries per problem to get it correct, and you're graded on the number of questions that you do get correct in this assignment. On the next slide, we're going to talk about how my math lab is set up, how to get to these practice assignments. If you are ever wondering the rationale for why you're given 3 tries per problem, I have a whole entire page that explains why in the My Math Lab document that you can find in the Welcome module. And then the last thing for you to know is that you have up until 2 days after the due date to complete the assignments. You'll get 50% credit on those problems done after the due date, but you'll still get 100% on the problems that you've completed by the due date. Okay, I just want to talk about a few things with my math lab. Even if you've used it before, you might see that our course is set up just a little different than courses you've used in the past.
When you first log into our course, you'll see the course name. And again, it's probably going to be different than this name. This one's particularly for my fall 2017 online course. But everything else will be the same in your section. So you'll see the course home, which kind of gets you to this. I always recommend that you do this browser check just to make sure that you have all the right browser settings. A lot of the time students get a thing that says you don't have a subscription to this site or cookies are not enabled, and this will kind of make it so you don't run into those issues. So you'll see the homework tab, and this is where you're going to find the learning assignments and the practice assignments. So for each of the learning assignments, I'll show the first one is going to be the longest, just so you know. Section 1.1 out of all of them is going to be the longest one. But when you go in there, you'll see there's the videos, and these are in blue. And once you've watched the video, these questions that go along with each video will turn blue, and you'll be able to access those. So you actually are going to get points just for watching the videos in here. I really wanted to stress to students how important it is that they actually are taking the time to watch the videos, even if they think they already know the information. There might be some tricks or tips that I have in there that you didn't know, so that they're really taking that time to learn it. And I felt like the best way to do that is to actually give you guys a grade for it, so you get graded and points for watching a video. So you'll click on that, you'll watch the video, and then you can take notes on the worksheet that's in D2L. And then once you've watched the video, then these questions will open up and you'll go through and do the questions. Now in the learning assignments, you'll have unlimited tries on the questions to get them right. But on the actual practice assignments, you'll get 3 tries. Now, when you go through, what you're going to see is there's some great resources in my math lab for you. The first is if you're in the learning assignment and you get to these questions and you're like, oh, I can't remember what she said about that. You can click on this assigned media, and that will actually go through and open up that video again. Then the other really cool thing is this question help. I'm going to actually find one that's a little bit better. Most of the time they have more resources than just these, but I'll talk about these really fast. So the textbook will take you directly to the section in the ebook for where this is covered. So if you want to use that as a resource as well, you can. Ask My Instructor will send me a direct link to the specific question that you had, and you can ask me a specific question on it, and I will be able to email you right back. So I'm going to go back over to an actual practice assignment so you can see where there's going to be some more resources for you. So the practice assignments, you'll go in there, and I've tried to make it where each of these assignments should take you on average about 45 minutes each, sometimes longer if you have to have multiple tries per problem. So you'll see this other tool that's available is what's called Help Me Solve This. And Help Me Solve This is an amazing, amazing tool in my math lab. It's kind of like me sitting there helping you out through the problem. So it walks you through step by step how to solve the specific problem. And so you actually have to be engaged in the process. Once you've gone through all of this Help Me Solve This, then the problem will change and you'll get a chance to actually see if you've learned the material. Students love Help Me Solve This because it's not like you're doing a regular textbook problem where you do a problem, you get stuck, you go to the solutions manual, see how they did it, and then you never get a chance to practice it again to make sure you've actually really learned it. And so what's cool about my math lab is it gives you that chance. If you don't know how to do it, you can use Ask Help Me Solve This, walks you through the steps, then you get a chance to actually apply it. And that's what really helps your brain process that information. The other tabs are the quizzes, so that's where you're going to find the quizzes that are due. These are just sample ones. Do not worry about doing these at all. I don't look at this, but you're going to want to look here over the quizzes that are open. The homework will open up 10 days before the assignments are due, and the quizzes will open up a week before the quizzes are due for you to get in there. And then there's this great place that's called the study plan, and this is where you can get in there and you can practice problems without it all getting penalized for your grade. My best advice is don't go to the recommendations, click the all chapters tab in here, and that will get you to the different chapters. So if you're struggling in section 1.1, you can click on 1.1, and that will show you with little tack marks the objectives that you need to practice. So clearly I need to practice all of these because I have tack marks next to all of them. But once you've gone through the homework, this will kind of change, and you'll start to see what little graduation caps, and that means that you've mastered that, so you don't need to focus on those problems. So this is a great place to go to kind of get ready for quizzes, or if you're doing the homework and you're up to almost your third try, you can go in here and practice a similar problem without any penalty. Then there's the grade book. This is where your grade for my math lab will be housed, and I will take this grade and I will always import it into our Desire to Learn grade book right before the midterm and right before the final. There's the multimedia library, and this is where you're going to find different section lecture videos and all of that. If you want to watch other videos that are particular for this book, you can go in here and find the chapter and the section that you're needing help with. I always just click select all, and you'll see there's all of these resources available for you. The ebook is what takes you to the actual ebook. So if you don't have a hard copy of the book, it doesn't matter. This will take you right to the book in HTML format. And then I have the Student Solutions Manual also available. So if you wanted to do some problems out of the book, which just so you know, the problems in my math lab are the same problems in the book. They're just done in a digital format. You can go there. And so that should be all that's available for you guys to research, to see. The rest of these are things that I get to see on my end as the instructor. So that's how my math lab works. My best advice is if you're getting stuck, use that help me solve this, and also email me. Just make sure when you email me, don't say, I don't get it. Let me know exactly what you don't get. So where are you getting stuck? Where do you need help on the material? And then I can go through and give you some great specific answers. You can also take screenshots or a picture with your phone of the work that you've done for the problem, and I can see where that misconception is, and that helps so much with me giving you really good feedback.
So the discussion board post. So to get to the discussion board post, once you're in Desire to Learn, you'll see for each module when there's a discussion board post that's due, it's linked in the to-do list, but you can also just on the navigation bar see discussions right up there. So they'll occur every week or every other week, and they consist of a variety of topics. Please make sure that you fully read the directions so that you get all of the points available for them. These are required by PCC for online classes to really get students to communicate with each other and kind of emulate working together in a face-to-face class. So really use this as a great place to work together and build relationships. Try not to think of it as a hoop to jump through, but I've had some terms where students have really utilized this well, where they've shared amazing resources and tips that they found over the material with the class. They've helped each other out when a classmate has questions. So don't look at it as just a hoop, but a way that you can really work together. And then homework write-ups. So homework write-ups you can get to by going to the assignment tab, and there's two big homework write-ups. There's one small introductory assignment that's due this week, the first week of the term. That's over just how the class is kind of set up in a checkbox, making sure you've done everything. But the main thing is these homework write-ups. So to get to it, obviously click on the assignment tab. And what homework write-ups are is they're a small selection of problems for you to actually hand write up. So when you take your paper and pencil midterm and final exams, that's going to be you having to do written work instead of just going and typing an answer into my math lab. So I wanted to give you a chance to kind of practice writing your math and showing your notation, and me a chance to really give you good feedback on. Now, these do need to be submitted electronically via the assignments Dropbox as one PDF file. So this system will only accept one PDF file, even though sometimes these are 3 pages long. So make sure that you're using a PDF scanner that will allow you to do that. We have those on all campuses. There's also a bunch of great free scanner apps that you can get for your smartphone, and I have those linked on the first page of each homework write-up for you to download. So the homework write-ups are graded not only on accuracy and correctness, but also on your notation and your work. Part of PCC's requirement is that you actually notate your math correctly, just like when you were to write a paper in English, you'd have to have commas and periods or it wouldn't make sense when someone's trying to read it. The same kind of thing happens with math, with how your equal signs are lined up and what you're showing on the left side versus the right side. So I really recommend you look at the notation guidelines in the welcome module to make sure that your math is written up correctly so that you don't get docked points for notation. And if you ever have any questions, please let me know. And then the last thing to tell you is these homework write-up questions are questions that are similar to ones that have been on previous midterms and finals that I found that students struggled with the most. So that's why I threw them on these write-ups too, is to give you some extra practice. So really make sure you're taking the time to do this and reading my feedback before the midterm and before the finals so that you can learn from your mistakes and do really well in the exam.
Let's talk about our course setup. So when you log into D2L, you'll see our course. And on the first page, which is called the course homepage, is where you're going to see our course newsfeed item. Now, every week on Monday, I'll have a new newsfeed item on here that has the important announcements from the week and any tips and things for you. You'll also see the information about how to get in touch with me on the right-hand side in our office hours, as well as I have a bunch of extra resources that I have linked down here. So if you're having issues with calculators, I've got calculator tips on here and all of that stuff, as well as great information with other videos that will help you out if you're needing a little more help. So that's kind of this home page. Now, when you click on content, that's what takes you to the content for the course. And once you get in there, you'll see each module has its own week. So the first week will be module 1. The first week you'll also have this welcome module. So when you're in each module, there'll be a couple of things for you to look at. So for the welcome module, there's a lot more. There's this video, there's our course calendar, which I really recommend you print out the course calendar so that you can use that every term it includes, or every week it includes all of the important dates and assignments for the entire term. And then there's our My Math Lab information, which is where it has the My Math Lab course ID, the supplement that you are expected to be doing on your own. You don't turn it in, but I do expect you guys are looking through that when you'll see when those are due from the course calendar, and then some prereq skills. The other thing you're going to see in each module is a to-do list, and the to-do list basically includes all of the different assignments that are due for that week. So for example, in the welcome module, you have an introductory quiz that's due Tuesday, a prerequisite assignment due Tuesday, and an introductory assignment due Sunday. So what you can do to get to each of those places is you just click on the link and it'll take you to either My Math Lab or it'll take you to the place in Desire to Learn that the assignment is housed. Also, when you go into our regular modules, what you'll see is there's going to be a prerequisite, materials and objectives. So this kind of, each module has its own prereq materials, and these kind of map out the prereqs that you need to be successful in this module. So for example, in section 1.4, you need to remember how to find the equation of a line. And so this lists those out, and then if you've forgotten them, which I know if it's been a while, it's totally understandable if you've forgotten them. I have little areas that you can go in the ebook that kind of show you. So if you go to the ebook to the Foundations chapter, section 2, these pages, it references the graphs of equations and how to graph equations. So, or whatever other prerequisite information you're struggling with. So that's a really good place for you to go. And then the other thing that you're going to find is that in here we have the video worksheets. So I talked about these earlier. So each section has its own video worksheet, and these correspond to the video assignments that are in the learning assignment in My Math Lab. So what I ask for you to do is, as you're going through the video, fill these blanks in. So anything that I'm writing on the slide, there's room for you to write on here. And these are just kind of like a great set of notes for you to be able to use when you're studying for exams and for quizzes, as well as a guide kind of when you're going through the homework. And I really recommend if you take notes and you fill these all out and bring them to the midterm and bring them to the final, you'll get extra credit. And then again, in each module, there's the module to-do list. So for this module, there's a discussion post, and then there's My Math Lab homework. So that's kind of how the modules and the weeks are mapped out. And then you'll get any discussions. Again, you can link out to them in the to-do list, or you can click on the discussion tab up here, and that will take you to it. The assignment tab is where you'll find all of the different homework write-ups and where those are, as well as when they're due. The grades tab is where your grades are going to be. And actually don't want to go there because, oh, actually it doesn't show everybody's name, which is good. So when you go to the grades tab, what you'll see in there is you're going to see exactly what you've been graded for. So if there's just a dash, that means I haven't entered that grade yet. But if there is a grade, that means that I have gone through and given you credit for that assignment, and you can see what your grade was for it. The class list will allow you to see who's in the class, and you can send emails out to the class. This My Math Lab tab just is a separate thing. I just wanted to have a link for you guys to get to My Math Lab from here. And then online rooms is where I'm going to have all of my virtual office hours. So if you want to join the virtual office hour, you can just go to online rooms, and then when the office hour opens up, so my first one for this particular class, and for each class it'll be different, so make sure you check your own. But this one starts on the 25th and it starts at noon. So if you can join this office hour, you'll just click on this link when it becomes available. You can get in there, and as long as you have either a headset or a keyboard, you can type questions to me or screenshot whatever you have, and we can kind of work through whatever questions you have on there, which is really cool.
Makeup, policy, and late work. The MyMathLab homework can be completed 2 days after the due date for half credit. You will still receive full credit for any problems completed by the Sunday deadline. Problems completed between the Sunday deadline and Tuesday at 11 p.m. will receive only half credit. The discussion boards, homework write-ups, and quizzes cannot be taken once the deadline's passed. The midterm and final have Friday noon deadlines. Those are the times when the final exam and midterm exam are proctored on campus. Additionally, I have optional evening sessions the Wednesday before. You cannot take the final or midterm exam for credit after Friday at noon when we proctor it in class. You can, however, make arrangements to take the midterm or final exam early with absolutely no penalty. Just contact me and we can make arrangements for that. I look forward to working with you this term to help you find success in Math 111. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me. Simply contact me by clicking on Class List and then clicking my name. That will open up an email with the correct heading so that I know which class you're in and can get back to you right away.